Hello, and welcome back to Coach Campus. On this episode, we will be talking about Week 2 recap of the NCAA college football season, as well as we will be talking about the NFL, a few upsets, and a couple great comebacks as well. Now let's get into Week 2 recap of the NCAA college football. I had a couple predictions. I had 4. I was 2 for 4. I thought a couple teams would upset, some didn't. And then the other ones that didn't get upset as well. The first game I want to talk about, Michigan and Oklahoma. The Wolverines and their freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood, went to Norman, Oklahoma, had a tough battle, but they lost, and the score of that game was 24-13. A couple of takeaways from the game is that Brett Venables and the Oklahoma defense looked serious. Not only that transfer quarterback, Mateer, threw 270 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but he did just enough to hold off the freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood, who went 9 for 24. Didn't have a great day, but as a true freshman, he went to unfriendly confines and didn't get the victory. Venables comes out 2-0 now. They're going to SEC play. Marines are 1-1. They got another big game coming up sometime soon as well. We want to talk about John Mateer, the quarterback for Oklahoma, the transfer quarterback. He's right what Venables needed. He did everything he could to make sure that they got the victory over Michigan. Mateer, like I say, he passed for 270. He ran for another 74 and 2 touchdowns on 19 carries. So he was a bell cow. Their wide receiver, Perks, he had 7 receptions for a touchdown. He did well. The Oklahoma offense was looking good, but that defense was looking even better. With that being said, Bryce Underwood, the quarterback, true freshman for the Wolverines, in the loss, like I said, he did go 9 for 24, but he showed some poise to me, especially in the second half, where in the first half he looked kind of rattled a little bit, but he came back to life in the second half. Got a lot of promise for a freshman quarterback. Justice Haynes, he toted that rock for 19 carries for 125 yards and a touchdown. Tried to keep him in, but at the end of the day, like I said, that Oklahoma offense with the mature junior quarterback, John Mateer, came through. Second game that we're going to be talking about is the Battle of Iowa. Iowa versus Iowa State. The Hawkeyes went into Ames, Iowa. Iowa State and Beck, they started first, and they came out to a good lead. And then all of a sudden, Iowa decided, nah, our defense is always good, so we're going to keep you in check. Iowa State goes to 3-0. It goes to 1-1. Thought Iowa State was going to win because it was at home, but let's face it, this was a defensive battle like it was back in 1972. 13 score. You know, when you get these two hated rivalries together, you don't know what you're going to get besides good defense. There wasn't that much offense. Rocco Beck was 18 for 27, 1 touchdown. Gronowski for Iowa, he was 13 for 24 and an interception. None of the rushers got over 65 yards rushing. No one got over 55 yards receiving. Like I said, this game was for the purist who love defense. Also came down to the wire as Iowa State's kicker Conradi, with about 1:52 seconds left, kicked the game-winning field goal after Iowa came back. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin went down to Mark Stoops in Kentucky. That game, I was a little nervous. I picked Ole Miss to win, but Kentucky had him on the ropes early. They kept on throwing haymakers. Good old Lane Kiffin, he had his team ready this time. Because I know last year Kentucky went to Ole Miss and upset them. This year, they withstood them. Kentucky came out first firing. They went up 7-0. The Ole Miss got 17 points in the second quarter, and then it was downhill from there. They ended up winning 30-23. The Rebels, Ole Miss, the running Rebels, they're 2-0, 1-0 in SEC play. Kentucky's 1-1. Key takeaways from this game was quarterback Simmons for Ole Miss. 2 interceptions, didn't do too much on offense, but since they have a great high-powered overall offense, you know, with Lacey, he had 28 carries for 138 yards and a touchdown. Wallace, the third for Ole Miss, he had 4 receptions, but he had over 117 yards. McGowan, the running back for Kentucky, he had 93 yards and 2 tutties. He did well. Zada, the QB for Kentucky, he didn't do too well. 15 for 30. I think if they had a little bit better QB play, they would have pulled this one out at home. Let's go on down to Starkville, Mississippi. One of the upsets of the day. The number 12 Arizona State Sun Devils went down to Mississippi and lost to the Mississippi State Bulldogs. 24-20. Tragic fashion. Tragic. But let's start with the good. Mississippi State came out like gangbusters. Blake Shapen, he threw for 279, 3 touchdowns, 19 for 33. Didn't get too much of a running game, but that's okay when he's Air Coryell out there. Thompson, the wide receiver, had 6 receptions, 2 tutties. Also, with the 58-yard game-winning touchdown with 30 seconds left. We'll get more into that. Arizona State was sleepwalking. I don't know if it was because they came from Arizona to Mount down Mississippi, they didn't get enough rest. If the plane was late, I don't know. But Sam Levitt, he played horrible. 10 for 22, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That's not going to cut it if you're trying to be a playoff team. It's not going to cut it. OJ Juice Man said, you need to cut it. And that ain't it. He did get solid running back play from Brown. 18 rushes for 110 yards. Tyson, the wide receiver, has 6 catches with a touchdown for 68 yards. That defense came out looking horrible for Arizona State. But in the second half, they kept it together for a while. Arizona State was down 17-3 at halftime. Then they came roaring back. Arizona State even took the lead. They took the lead 20-17 with a minute and 38 seconds left. I thought they was going to get out and escape with the victory. Blake Shapen said, no. Not on my watch. No way, Jose. No way. How Arizona State, when you're up 20-17 with a minute and 38 seconds, the coverage for the secondary is always be deep as the deepest man. So your secondary, you got to be deep. You can't get burnt on a 58-yard long bomb. You see my man, when he scored that touchdown, all them good teams with the money, they got the light show now. They got the dancing light at the end where they, flash their colors. My man, Brennan Thompson, with his 58-yard TD catch and run, he knew that light show was coming. He just held the ball. I appreciate that. Those big mans. If I ever had a chance to score a touchdown, I did the same thing. Mississippi State, you earned that victory. Arizona State, good luck next week. Now to the 2 big upsets that I do want to talk about. Let's first talk about South Florida versus the University of Florida. That made me happy. Some volunteers were 2 of them. The South Florida Bulls, they go into Gainesville and get a victory, 8-16, on a last-second kick field goal by Nico Gramatica. I wonder if he's related to the legendary Martin Gramatica, who was an NFL kicker. If so, kudos to your boy or your nephew or whoever. Them South Florida Bulls used to be in the Big East back in the aughts. They made me proud going in there and beating one of my rivals, the Florida Gators. Brown for the Bulls, he was 23 for 36, 1 touchdown, 263 yards. He also ran for 66 yards while passing to Singleton, who had 2 receptions for 1 TD. So he had a big bomb. It was a 66-yarder in the third quarter. Florida, ever since Urban Meyer left, you've been on the fritz, and I've been loving it. Because as a Tennessee Volunteer fan, when Tim Tebow came to town in 06, that's when y'all changed y'all's fate against us. And when I say us, I mean Tennessee Volunteers. And you'll figure out, I got 2 college football teams, and I root for a lot of underdogs. Quarterback for the Gators, Lagway, I thought you'd be a little bit more advanced at this point in time since you had a season under your belt. You didn't do too bad. He was 23 for 33, 1 touchdown, but a critical interception, 222 yards. Ball, your running back, Toe the Rock for 93 yards. Wilson the third, 7 catches for 1 touchdown. Florida Gators, I'm relishing in this just a little bit. I know we got Tennessee, got a big game coming up this week. I'll talk about that in the next episode. But let's talk about the Florida Gators. One of the Blue Bloods, college football. You are on the fritz. And I mean that in the nicest way. Your team stinks, and I love it. What Florida needs to do, if they need to hire Urban Meyer back, I don't know if he would be interested, but I think next year would be a good year to get Urban Meyer back. You heard it here first. Great job, South Florida Bulls. Keep up the good work. Now let's get to the other big upset of the week. Them Mountaineers of West Virginia traveled from Morgantown and made the easy trek to Athens, Ohio, crossing the Ohio River. Just get beat down by the Ohio Bobcats. 17-10. I didn't see this one coming. I wonder why the odds makers had this at 3.5, minus 3.5 for WVU. I don't know if WVU was looking ahead to the next week, which is the backyard brawl with my pit boys. But I do know one thing. Ohio said, we the Ohio players. You can't just step over us and think you're going to worry about Pittsburgh. So the Ohio QB, 10 yards, but bad game. 22 for 31, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. And they still won? Marco for the QB for WVU, 15 for 26 for 1 touchdown. That's not going to get anything done. His running back, White, who got injured in the game, I think he's out for the season as well, only had 40 yards. The wide receiver, Brave, 69 yards. He got injured too. I think he's out for the season as well. Navarro, even though he had 3 interceptions, he had 87 yards rushing. The QB for Athens, Ohio. Hendricks had 8 receptions, 1 touchdown. And I know what some of you guys are thinking, because y'all know me. Didn't you go to WVU? I did. It was for a master's degree. Business purposes. Shout out to them Bobcats in Athens. Been down there many a day on that campus. And I know y'all had a shouting good time. I know Halloween's coming up next month. I know y'all be partying down there too. Coach might have to come on that campus and shake a tail feather for the old days. Now let's get into a couple games in the NFL. I had a couple picks here as well. There was a couple upsets. I did so my picks. Let's start off with Friday's game down there in Brazil. I predicted the Chiefs would win because they got that pedigree. But they end up losing 27-21 to the Chargers. Mahomes, he had okay numbers, but started slow. Had 1 touchdown pass on 39 attempts, 258 yards. He led the team in rushing with 57 yards and 1 touchdown there. Hollywood Brown had 99 yards on 10 receptions. I know they lost Isaiah Worthy to some friendly fire. Him and Travis Kelce bumped knees in a rout. I think Kansas City will be okay in the long run. They'll get back Rashee Rice in 6 games. Worthy is day-to-day, so it's not like it's too bad. But it's time for me to heap some praise on Justin Herbert. I've been waiting for this in a big game. I've been waiting. My man was 25 for 34, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. He put the Chargers on his back. He was the Rob Van Dam of this game. And if you know what that means, he was the whole show. You know the rest. You fill in the blank. Justin Herbert, you played up to a top 5 QB type of that talent you have, buddy. I got to give you kudos to that. But you know who else I give kudos to? That man, the winner himself, Jim Harbaugh. In 2 years, he done rallied the troops here. Last year, he had training wheels on Herbert in his 4th year. After seeing Herbert for a year, he knew if you're going to beat the Chiefs, you got to unleash him. He has a God-gifted ability to sling that rock, and that's what he did. Herbert, I'd like to see more of that. You do more of that. You be up there talking with, maybe not Mahomes just yet, but be up there with the Lamars, Josh Allens, the Burrow, and even Jaden Daniels up there in Chocolate City, who I'm getting a victory this week. Amari Hampton, your rookie running back, he had 48 yards. Quentin Johnston, your wide receiver, he had 5 receptions for 2 touchdowns. Keenan Allen, he had a couple of great grabs to keep the chains moving. Chargers, you went down to Brazil, took care of business. Kudos to you guys. Falcons, Buccaneers, what can I say? That was a good game. Good divisional game. Buccaneers won 23-20. I thought the Falcons were going to win because they're at home. I got them winning the division. Young Wade Koo could have tied it up. But I told my buddy, I was watching the game with my buddy, and I told him, I said, listen, he goes, Young Wade Koo's solid. He's going to kick this field goal. He's going to tie it up. I said, nah. I watch a lot of Falcons games. Young Wade Koo's, he's consistently inconsistent. Yeah, he'll get you a couple good ones. He's also going to give you a couple bad ones, too. Missed the field goal, tied up at the end of the game. Phoenix looked good. 27-42, 298 yards. Down. Baker does what Baker do. Bijan Robinson, 6 receptions, 100 yards, 1 touchdown. You know, great divisional game. These 2 teams were the crop of that NFC South. Now, to the slobber knocker of the I know I went on a rant last week about how the Dolphins were underdog going into the Colts with Danny Dimes at the helm. The odds makers knew what they were talking about. This game was 20-0 at halftime. Dolphins offense didn't show up. Dolphins defense didn't show up. I don't think that was the Dolphins out there. I think that was Keanu Reeves and the replacements down there. That's what I do believe. They had replacements in there. 14 for 23, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and horrible interceptions at that. Chan only could get 7 carries because they was down so much for 55 yards. Tyreek Hill, 4 receptions for 40 yards. That's not even okay for Tyreek's stand. I was dead wrong, as Biggie Smalls would say. Take notes. I did take notes on this one. That dude, Danny Dime, 22 for 29, 1 TD. Jonathan Taylor, 71 yards on 18 carries. Michael Pittman Jr., the Buckeye, 6 receptions, 1 TD. You know, Danny Dimes also had a TD rushing. I'm not going to overreact. I still think the Colts are the worst in the division. But Miami, I don't know if you need Will Smith to come back to sing to y'all. If you need Mark Anthony, used to be an owner, I don't know if he still is. I don't know if you need him to sing to y'all. But something needs to happen down there because I'm ready to fire everybody. I'm not even a Miami Dolphins. Get it together, Miami. Get it together. I like to see your high-powered offense. Okay, let's get to my team. The Pittsburgh Steelers went up to New York or New Jersey, whatever you want to call it, smack dab close together, to the New York Jets and play in Rutherford. No one saw this one coming. The point line was 7.5. These two teams scored 66 points together. Justin Fields, in a losing effort, was 16 for 22, touchdown, 218 yards, but he controlled the game. He played bigger than the stats. If that Justin played last year in Pittsburgh like this, he'd still be in Pittsburgh. Breece Hall ran for 107 on 19 carries. Garrett Wilson, 7 receptions, 1 touchdown. They gave the Pittsburgh Steelers all they could handle and more. And more. Aaron Glenn, in one game, I see has changed that culture around in one offseason. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like the AFC East with the Jets. It's not going to be a pushover this year, especially if they keep on getting that play from the O-line, the running backs, and Justin Fields. Their defense didn't look too good. And it's supposed to be a good defense. They let Aaron Rodgers carve them up. 22 for 34 touchdowns, 244 yards. Aaron Rodgers is doing that. You know what he was doing? That discount double check. He had that swagger back. If he stays like that for the Steelers, we may have something for the year. I know he's longer than 2. Speaking of longer than 2, let's talk about that defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Looked horrible, looked pathetic, got ran over just like they finished the season against the Ravens last year. Y'all need to get it together. The defensive tackles looked hideous. They get pushed all over. No thank you. Metcalf in his Pittsburgh debut, 83 yards, 4 receptions, looked pretty good. Highsmith had a sack. Ali Highsmith had a sack when we needed it. And then that boy Boswell. He's the most consistent player. I know we got TJ Watt. I know we got Cam Hayward. I know we got whoever else. But that Chris Boswell, most consistent player we have on that team. I love you for kicking all those field goals, boy. Appreciate you. Got us that victory, a 60-yarder. Thank you. Packers and Lions. Well, I thought the Lions were going to win this one. I thought the Fighting Kneecaps and Dan Campbell's boys was going to go from Detroit to Green Bay on a beautiful day and get the victory. But Jordan Love told me, no. It's something different here. Packers win. Wasn't close. Jordan Love, 16 for 22, 2 touchdowns. Jacobs had 66 yards on 19 carries and a touchdown. Dobbs, Romeo, my man, rough out that Romeo, 68 yards on 2 touchdowns. I was shocked the Lions only got 13. Goff was 31 for 39, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Montgomery had 11 carries for 25 yards. Lions offensive line didn't look too good. Goff was getting pressured a lot. Only bright spot on offense for me was Sam Laporta with 79 yards and 6 receptions. Micah in his debut got a sack to put the cherry on top at the end. Tough Division 1 matchup. I have Lions win this division. I still have them winning this division. I think they're going to be all right in the long run because of the culture that Dan Campbell. Good luck to both teams in the future. The matchup of the week was the Baltimore Ravens going into Buffalo. Matchup of the heavyweights. Matchup of MVPs. Matchup of 2 teams who can't get over the Mahomes curse. Buffalo comes out with a shocking win, 41-40, after being down 15 in the 4th quarter. This game was a great game to watch. Josh Allen, big time. 33 for 46, 2 touchdowns. 394 yards passing, 240 of them in the 4th quarter. And he had a touchdown, a rushing touchdown in the quarter. Cook had 44 yards in a touchdown. Coleman had big catches. He had 8 of them for a touchdown, 112 yards. They played ball. They came back. You know they came back like Cook, you know. Gotta give it up to Buffalo. Lamar looked good. 14 for 19, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, but a critical fumble in the fourth quarter. Come on, bro. Why you trying to stiff arm? You already got the lead. I know stiff arm is your thing. I know it's your thing. Trust me, I do. And trust me, I'm not a Ravens fan because I'm a Steelers fan. I'm not. But then, man, you had this. Zay Flowers, he's busting loose. 7 receptions, 143 yards and a touchdown. Something always goes wrong at the end of the games for the Ravens. I just don't know why. But you know what? I'm going to find out this year. I'm going to have my good eye looking at these guys this year real close and see what's going on here. But shout out to both teams. They played a heck of a Sunday night game. Shout out to Buffalo pulling it out, in the last minute. Kudos to the Bills. Looks like the last 2 games they had the Ravens number in the win column. Good luck to both teams in the future. Monday Night Football. The Minnesota Vikings went into the Monsters of the Midway, Chicago, to the Windy City and got a victory, 27-24. If you were watching this game like I was at halftime, if someone had told you the Minnesota Vikings are going to come back, the Minnesota Vikings are going to win, and it's going to be spearheaded by their quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, you'd have laughed. Because I would have laughed. I have a buddy that's a Bears fan. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. He was messaging me, talk about the Bears are back. I know he was talking about the Bears are back. We're coming for this season. We're doing this, we're doing that. He wasn't wrong, because the Bears were back all right. The Bears were back to losing games, and just the way the Bears know how to do within the last 15 years, how they lose them games. And the 1985 Bears are back, the Super Bowl Bears, the last time they went to the Super Bowl for the 40th anniversary. So he was right, the Bears were back, just not the way he wanted them to be back. We know who the Bears are. Caleb Williams. Looked decent in the first half. I thought this boy, he's throwing balls on the sideline, on this thing. I said, okay, I see you, Caleb. Maybe it's not going to be a sophomore slump. As a rookie, he did okay, but we're looking for progress. But then, second half, Caleb came back, scrambling, should have thrown the ball away, stepping on the out-of-bounds line, taking sacks where he doesn't need to, getting intentional groundings, 21 for 35, 1 touchdown, 210. Also had 58 yards rushing on the touchdown. Caleb. You even got 7 points from your defense on the pick 6. I don't want to hear no Bears fan talking about, this is our year. You couldn't beat pretty much a rookie in J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings on the first game at home. And you got all the weapons over there. Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, Alcamet, Loveland, Whiff. I know it's first game. Ben Johnson's your new head coach. But something's got to give now. Come on, I need to see better. You got weapons. You got talent around you. And you got defense. Now on to the winners. Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy. This was a team effort. The defense did bend but don't break. It did just enough to keep in the ball game in the first half. Brian Flores had his boys just enough. Evan McConnell in the first half, I'm like, what in blazes is going on with your offense? And I said, JJ's pretty much a rookie out there because he tore his ACL last year. He didn't play. He did get some experience of being on the sideline, seeing how fast the game would be, things like that. JJ McCarthy, 13 for 22 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had a bad one in the first half, but it's okay. A pick 6. But with all that, he regrouped. Got a touchdown to Justin Jefferson, a touchdown to Aaron Jones when they needed it. Jordan Mason ran for 68 yards. Is he the new comeback kid? J.J. McCarthy after 1 week? We'll see. But I like what he's doing out there. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. The NFL kickers. If you do not have an NFL solid, consistent kicker, it's hard for you to go a long way. Most of these games come down to the wire. And if your kicker's not solid, you're going to have a bad game. You had, out of the 32 teams, you had 10 kickers that missed either an extra point or a makeable field goal. That's supposed to be average and standard. Kickers got to do better. They got to do better. Teams, you better go get yourself a kicker, and I'm going to be a homer on this one. Chris Boswell, me, is the best kicker, consistently consistent kicker in the game. He wins games for the Steelers, especially the last 5-6 years with a anemic offense. So he is our offense. So I respect and I love that we got Chris Boswell. Thank you, boss, for being you, buddy. Even when they were praising Butker and Tucker, you was always my man. Keep on doing your thing. On that note, I'm going to be a double homer right now. You got to use a kicker. 49ers almost lost that game because Moody was putting Shanahan in a bad mood, missing all them kicks and I talked about this guy earlier. Young Wei Koo missing the tying game, missing the kick during the tying game. Come on now. And 8 others. Not even get to the Browns kicker. The Browns could have beat the Bengals. They lost 17-16. They missed NFL GMs. You better go out and get Ben Sauls right now. His name's Ben B.E.N. Sauls, S-A-U-L-S. Like, you better call Saul. Go get yourself Ben Saul. I'll be on Coach campus all the time. Go down to the University of Pittsburgh games. Ben Saul's last 4 years was a stud. He got cut by the Steelers this year because we have Boswell. But someone better be calling him up today and say, hey, come on in, fella. Because I seen that dude in college make so many 54-yarders, 55-yarders to save the Pitt Panthers in their anemic offense at time. I know a kicker when I see him. Go get yourself Ben Sauls, one of y'all, and you'll thank me later. That's all for this episode of Coach Campus. Stay tuned.
Days ring.